fighter, but I know you are. You say you are.
Guys, this is an anthem. Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to the Ultimate World Music Reaction channel, where we explore music and psychology, listening to amazing artists from all around the globe. Today I want to check out someone from Canada again, Tom MacDonald. He is a rapper, songwriter, all kinds of things. He put out a new song called Fighter just a few days ago. This guy is from Canada. His songs have millions and millions of views, and I'm just diving into the whole world. I listened to him for the first time. Check that out if you're interested. And I'm working my way backward, if you will. Instead of starting with his early work and then learning more about him, which I often do with artists, I'm kind of working backwards just because he put out a new song and I want to jump on that. But some of the snippets I saw on YouTube stories, he said things like it being different. He mentioned things like people saying that a lot of his music lately sounds the same, and so he was preparing people for his new release, letting them know it's not what they expect, it's going to be different. Being new to the whole world of Tom MacDonald and I believe it's called the Hangover Gang, I don't know much of his music, so I can't really say that it sounds the same or not. So to me, it's going to be new and fresh, and I guess that kind of helps. Don't know much about him. I know that he doesn't shy away from hard topics, calling things out, and I liked that. I think it was incredibly courageous, and now I'm curious to see what Fighter is about. Now, what I do know is that his girl does the videos, does his video work and his editing, and that is really cool. She raps as well, supposedly. Is that right? Let me know in the comments below what you know. But I'm gonna check it out. I'm curious to see what happens, and here we go. No.
Bottom of the ninth, up against the odds, running out of time, only got one shot. When it's really do or die, when your back's against the wall, when you fighting for your life, do you believe in you or not? I'm a believer, I believe. I'm a believer, I believe.
Okay, so again, second song in, working my way backward to his big hits and the things that put him on the map and the songs you've suggested, so stay patient. But this one just came out, and the shorts he would share, the stories on YouTube he shared were saying, hey guys, this is going to be different, not what you expect, get ready. So really that surprise effect of don't think you know what this is going to be like. And the first thing I'm hearing is an organ, and that already gives a certain church vibe to me. And now he's singing about being a believer. And he's singing, which that's new to me too. Interesting. Okay.
Second guessing every breath, I'm full of questions. Passes full of cigarettes, alcohol and depression. Therapists and all the different pills can get expensive. All this bottled up aggression, I'm too old to get arrested. Almost died trying to get here. Got high through my best years. Got sober, then I relapsed, then I cleaned up, got my head clear. Sometimes it feels like there ain't to believe in, but I believe that we're out here for a reason. You don't think you're a fighter, but I know you are. And you are a liar if you say you are. You don't think that you're worth it, but I think you're wrong. And I think you're perfect the way that you are. Tired from the pressure I put on myself for years. Tired from my 20s, the whiskey bottles and beers. Tired of smiling while I've been holding back tears. But I believe I can do it, so I'm here. I'm a believer, I believe. I'm a believer, I believe. I've been told I have a death wish, no one's interested. Cold and too aggressive, close to hypertension. I'm broken from the pressure, explosive with my temper. I'm sober, but I'm stressing and hoping it gets better. Am I falling off? Should I give it up or put it all on pause? Let go of this dream so I can visit home and talk to mom? Maybe all I need's another Instagram post with a quote about believing in yourself when you're low. You don't think you're a fighter, but I know you are. And you are a liar if you say you are. You don't think that you're worth it, but I think you're wrong. And I think you're perfect the way that you are. Maybe I'm weaker, and I know I've lost before, but I'm a believer. Nothing is impossible. I'm a believer. I believe. I'm a believer. I believe. You don't think you're a fighter, but I know you
Guys, this is an anthem. This is incredibly cool. I understand now. Even though this is like my second song in, I don't know anything about Tom MacDonald, right? And I heard a snippet a long time ago, and then I listened to Sheeple for the first time, and that was like my introduction fully into the world of Tom MacDonald, and I loved it, right? We're talking, let's tackle heavy topics, let's call things out, not shying away on both sides, right? Talking about the blue and the red pill, not being afraid to call crap out on all sides. Really just dealing with hard topics and things that are being screwed and misconstrued and propagandas and agendas and just calling it out. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. He's a rebel. He's speaking his mind. He's not shying away from hard topics. It looks very intense, obviously, right? Like you can tell he has a story. You can tell he's not. He's been around the block. And then several of you mentioned in the comments how he's been through a lot of crap, and even now in his song sings about the addiction. And we'll talk about the lyrics in a second. But again, just so cool because those stories where he was introducing the video and saying, hey guys, go check it out. It's coming out in 3, 2, 1 days, and letting us know this is not going to be what we expect. This is going to be different. People have been claiming a lot of his music is the same lately. Here's something fresh. And it is, to me, again, the organ in the beginning, the church, him in clothing that a reverend or a priest would wear, right? Going from the reverend, the black suit with the white collar, to full-on priestly attire with what it looks like a Bible in his hand, and singing about being a believer, having faith, and not so much referring to a religion, but referring to believing, not giving up, and that fight of wanting to give up and being discouraged. And we'll talk about all that in a second. But this is such an anthem, and I really like this. And it's so fun to see, really, like his girl does an awesome job with these videos. I'm telling you. Just how it goes back and forth between the church setting, then back to the car wreck, that desperation, the smoke and the damaged car behind him, just everything seems lost and broken, back to jumping around in the church, having a good time, the goofiness, right, almost losing his balance. Let's go back a little bit. This is just so cool.
Let go of this dream so I can visit home and talk to mom. Maybe all I need's another Instagram post with a quote about believing in yourself.
He has a cool voice. I like his voice.
You don't think you're a fighter, but I know you are. And you are a liar if you say you are.
Listen.
You don't think that you're worth it, but I think you're wrong.
That's right. That's right.
And I think you're perfect. Way that you are. Maybe I'm weaker, and I know I've lost before, but I'm a believer. Nothing is impossible.
Come on, preach, buddy.
I'm a believer.
I love this part.
I believe.
I just love this part.
I'm a believer. I believe.
Come on.
You don't think you're a fighter, but I know you are. And you are a liar.
You say you are.
You don't think that you're perfect, but I think you are. And I think you're perfect the way that you are.
This is so cool, guys. This is beautiful. This is an anthem. I'm telling you, this needs to be like an anthem. Guys, what y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. I really like this. A couple of things. Okay, so we'll talk about the lyrics in a second. But again, going back and forth between the car wreck, the smoke, to being in church, jumping around, holding a book, Bible, speaking of being low, wanting to give up, and then, maybe I just need an Instagram post telling people not to give up, bottom of the ninth, up against the odds, running out of time, only got one shot, when it's really do or die, when your back's against the wall, when you're fighting for your life, do you believe in you or not? So this idea of believing, and again, he's not speaking for any type of religion, but believing in yourself. And then he speaks of all his struggles, which is fitting, right? It's not, the song wasn't called Believe or Believer, it was called Fighter. And so while the chorus keeps singing again and again, I'm a believer and you're worth it, I believe you are, and you're a liar if you say you're not, the idea really being, we've been at the bottom, we're going to keep fighting to get back up. And I think that's so cool because you have people like him that are being so courageous to speak out against crap, to speak truth, to deal with controversial topics. And there's going to be a ton of hate. You like him or not, regardless if this is your music style or not. Right now, there's all kinds of genres in the world. And sure, there's things that are more complex from an orchestral standpoint, right? From a compositional standpoint, okay? Um, there's different types of genres, different types of songs, certain pieces of music that are so intricate and detailed from an artistic standpoint, kind of like art, like painted art, where so many different colors have been used and the highest quality of paint and the most expensive paintbrush, and it's been all done so delicately. And you have that in music too, compositions of of complex notes and instrumentation and lyrics that are so poetic and deep, right? And then you have songs that are more straightforward, where maybe the composition and setup is more simple, but the message is what the point is, right? And so that's the beautiful thing about music, right? We have all these different genres, different languages, different forms of art, and it is ultimately in the eye, the beauty is ultimately in the eye of the beholder, right? We could look at a piece of Picasso or Monet and agree that it's an absolute masterpiece, or disagree depending on your taste. And then we may look at a painting of a child and some may go, this is gross, what is this? And others may say, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen because it's your child or you have a love for this individual. And I feel like it's similar with music. You have complex compositions that are just mind-blowing, again, from an artistic standpoint. And then you have music where it was put together and it's fairly straightforward. You got your beat, you got your instrumentation, and the message, the lyrics are the focus. Here in this particular track, I feel like we have a combination of both. We have a track that's pretty straightforward, right? The chorus, the melodies, they repeat, which is helpful because if you have a good hook when it comes to songwriting, it'll be easier for it to get stuck in people's mind, right? You don't want anything too crazy. You want something that people can remember, that'll be stuck in their brain, that they can sing on repeat. And I can see myself just being at home, having to chant this or whatnot. It's a catchy hook. It's something you can remember, you can learn easily, where even people that may not be musically inclined can sing it, can hear it, sing it, and remember it. And so that's what often makes a good hook. And because the lyrics are such a big focus here, even though you have some cool musical elements like the organ fitting to the whole idea of church and believer, and you have the beat and certain elements in the track that add a cool flair, the focus is clearly the lyrics to me. It was really cool to see more of him, to see him sing more, and I like his voice. Like, his speaking voice is really dope in my opinion, but even when he was singing, it was cool to hear the notes and to hear how he was singing an octave higher and an octave lower. Creating, even though it was in unison, it was creating a certain fullness. Video, again, pretty cool, really well done, that back and forth. His girl's really good at this. I love that. Just the contrast between the struggle and having a good time and being hopeful in church. And the lyrics speak of that too. Second guessing every breath, I'm full of questions. Past is full of cigarettes, alcohol, and depression. And you've told me this, that he was a recovering addict, that he's a recovering addict. He's been through crap. He knows what he's talking about. And I appreciate when people can be real. One of the things I love about NF and his real crowd is not shying away from hard topics, being vulnerable, and being able to say, hey, me too. I've been there. I'm struggling. I've struggled in the past. And even for someone like him who's now made it, right, where he has a big platform and he's speaking truth and he's being courageous, he has hard days too. We all do. Regardless if you are a recovering addict or not, we all have hard days, and some days are harder than others. And it takes so much strength to not give up. It takes so much strength not to fall back into old habits, not to go back to an old fix when you're in that dark place. And so it's just this anthem to encourage people, him not shying away from sharing about his experience, which many of you seem to be familiar with. Almost died trying to get here, got high through my best years, got sober, then relapsed and cleaned up, got my head clear. Right? So honest about it, not just being a one linear climb, but there being ups and downs, right? And I think that's so empowering, right? And encouraging, again, for those who are struggling with addiction, those who are struggling with mental illness, and those who are dealing with just being human and being alive. It's not going to be linear. And it's encouraging to me too, because there's days that I may give myself a hard time for not being in a certain place yet, or still struggling with certain things. And it's like, man, you got to keep going. That's what matters. I tell that to my children too, right? The most important thing when you fall is that you get back up. It's okay to make mistakes. That's going to happen by default. We're humans, but getting back up is so important. Tired from the pressure I put on myself for years, tired from my 20s, the whiskey bottle and beers, tired of smiling when I've been holding back tears, but I believe I can do it, so I'm here. I've been told to have a death wish, no one's interested, cold and too aggressive, close to hypertension. Isn't it interesting how people will say things and they have no idea about someone's heart, right? Especially on the internet. It's so easy to make assumptions based off of a video and audio. And most of the time, a lot of the time, there's a lot of projecting going on. There's a lot of just internal struggle. We see it left and right with people all over the place thinking that they can fix something on the outside to find peace on the inside, where there's lack of identity and internal struggle. And then the world would have us believing, and by world I mean, the media, the outside noises would have us believing, oh, just buy this and wear that and change this and cut this off and change this. And that you can now find peace by changing a simple word, by changing a look, by buying something, by eating something, by intaking something. It's not going to bring peace. And there is a fight involved, right? This idea that, of course, the media and the market is going to want to sell us that lie. Of course, they're going to want to make us believe if you buy this product, you'll be happy, because that's how they get rich. They get rich off of people being sheeple, right? And saying, okay, you know what? I'm just going to listen to what they say. I'm going to just consume, blindly, just doing what I'm being told. But it actually takes fighting. It takes working and going, you know what? I'm going to shut it all off. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be in this hard place of anxiety and pain and struggle with help, right? No shame in needing help. We weren't meant to fight alone, with a therapist and a counselor and a friend, or, someone in the faith community or in some type of community, right? Someone where you can, maybe in an AA group, something where we can be vulnerable and say, I'm struggling, I'm hurting, and people listen. And we can be in that quiet place of sitting in those things, working through them, fighting through them. You don't think you're a fighter, but I know you are. And you're a liar if you say you aren't. You don't think that you're worth it, but I think that you are. This song is so fitting. I think a couple of you who recommended me listening to this were spot on when you thought that I would like this. This is so encouraging. I think you're perfect the way you are. That part, I didn't fully agree with, because I don't think we're perfect the way we are. I do think there's work to be done, growth to be done, aka a fight that needs to be fought. But I know how he means it, right? So in and of itself, and this is why context is important, y'all. So many things are misunderstood and construed when we take things and we go, oh, I don't agree with that. That's wrong. It's like, listen to it in context. In and of itself, yes, I would say, no, I don't think we're perfect the way we are. There's work to be done. And even he himself speaks of fighting, right? So that would be a controversy if I were to claim you're perfect the way you are, just chill, don't worry. And yet I'm saying fight. That seems to be a contradiction. But I don't think that's how he means it. I think he's trying to encourage the listener to remember their worth and that they're loved. Because the crazy thing is, though I do think there's work to be done, and I think people who use that saying, I'm, perfect the way I am, as an excuse to not grow, to not deal with their issues, that's the wrong approach, right? If it's used as an excuse. But I think when we use it as a liberation from constantly feeling like something's not quite right, right? And I think that's what's meant more here. This encouragement to say you're worth it. You are loved the way you are. You're perfect the way you are. Because clearly he's not saying, oh, just do whatever you want, right? Whatever you're doing, it's fine. You're perfect. Clearly not. Otherwise, he would not have broken out of his addictions and gone back to therapy and to rehab and fought so hard to get out of that place, right? Clearly he is for change. But I think it's this encouragement of, hey, you can rest in knowing you're loved. And I think there's power in that. As an example, I would say sorry a lot for the longest time. I still say sorry quite a bit, but it was very unhealthy. I would say sorry for saying sorry. And people would get so annoyed, be like, stop saying sorry. Oh my gosh. And I'd be like, I'm sorry. And that was a result from trauma and from abuse. But what was so freeing to me was when one person, I don't remember who they were. I wish I did and I could thank him. It was years ago. One person said to me, so what if you say sorry? Say sorry if you want. And it was such a new concept to me back then. This was years ago. And it was liberating, where I was like, yeah, if I want to say sorry, I can say sorry. And ironically, being told that I'm accepted with even that annoying little pet peeve thing that I do was freeing. And I think helped to not have to say it. I didn't stop. I still continued saying sorry. But it was almost like acceptance, being told you're okay, like you're loved and accepted, but even with all the sorries, was more liberating than somebody saying, work on that, work on that, work on that, right? There's something empowering about being told you're good. Like, we're working on ourselves, growing from a place of knowing that we're already accepted, that we're already loved, is so much more empowering than working on ourselves, because we have this constant lingering feeling that we're just not enough. We're not there. We're just not quite, right? That's so disheartening and such a defeat to feel like I gotta work because I think that I'm never enough. Instead of going, I already am accepted. Basically this, growing, trying to be the best versions of ourselves because we're loved, not in order to be loved. I think there's something very empowering about that for personal self-love, for our relationships, and that takes hard work. I mean, even just today, I was reminded how learning to not be triggered when someone else is triggered, learning to be aware of my own triggers and deal with that is hard work. Communicating and pulling my walls down in marriage, with children, with in various relationships here on social media, right? Most of y'all are amazing, but I get misunderstood. I got people saying a few ugly things here and there. Thankfully, the good outweighs the bad, but some of those comments are not very kind, right? There's people out there that are just trolling for the sake of trolling, or they genuinely feel this way, and it's just a lot of hate, and it's cowardice to me, hiding behind a screen and behind some username, making assumptions. But that happens a lot on social media and in the world today. Not even just on social media. Because we're being desensitized and conditioned, it can happen on the street where we go and we see somebody. I've done it. And I got to watch myself. And it's so easy to box somebody in, stereotype, make assumptions. And then we act based on that, or don't act and leave other people alone and don't try to get to know the other person. It's hard work to pull our walls down, to communicate, to go, okay, what's up in here? But from a place of being loved and being enough and being accepted. This is just dope, okay? I'm not going to go into too much more detail. There's a whole lot of other things we can probably pick out here psychologically, maybe even musically. I'm sure I missed a few things, but I think he did an awesome job. It was cool to hear him sing. It was cool to hear him rap in a more just melodic and calmer way, right? The other rap where he was rapping in sheeple was much more aggressive and intense, and I loved it. But it was cool to see here just kind of the straightforward melodic rap with a powerful message. Guys, I hope you know that you are loved and you matter. If anything today, if you listened this far, shout out to you, man. If you take anything from this today, just listen to that song again, check out the descriptions below, go support Tom MacDonald, follow him, subscribe, all that stuff, and subscribe to this channel too. Share it with somebody. I want you to know that you are loved, and I want you to fight, okay? Not because you're trying to be loved, but because you already are loved, and you deserve to have a life of fullness. You were created for more than just surviving. I hope you know you're loved and you matter. Keep going, man. I'm so proud of you guys. There's so many out there of you who have fought demons and death and addiction, and you're still at it. Keep going. You're a fighter. I believe in you, and I know that you're worth it. And you need to believe that too. Thank you so much for stopping by, you guys. As always, like, share, subscribe. All the links below if you want to buy a coffee, if you want to say thanks, if you want to become a patron or get some merch, please check the links out below. I appreciate you so much. I love doing this, and I'm honored to be on these musical rides with you. This was a good steak today. All right, guys, until next time, this was Rosalie. Heyo!